compound in organic chemistry is Grignard reagent. This Grignard reagent is utmost importance in the preparation of so many compounds, particularly aliphatic compounds. What is Grignard reagent? Grignard reagent is an alkyl magnesium halide is known as a Grignard reagent. Alkyl magnesium halide. We know magnesium metal, it is bivalent metal, its valency is 2. So if one valency is satisfied with any alkyl group, it may be methyl or ethyl or propyl and so on, and second valency is satisfied with chlorine, bromine, iodine, etc., any halogen. It is stable in ether. It is stable in ether. So this is called as Grignard reagent. Alkyl magnesium halide is known as Grignard reagent. When ethyl chloride is treated with magnesium in presence of dry ether, it will give us ethyl magnesium chloride, which we call it as Grignard reagent. It is very unstable compound. If we hydrolyze this ethyl magnesium halide, it simply hydrolyzes to give MgOH plus C2H6 ethane. This is most important reagent in organic chemistry. So many aliphatic compounds can be prepared with the help of this Grignard reagent. In board examinations, generally they will ask us some conversions. That means how the given compound is prepared from that compound, like that. We call it as a conversions reactions. Let us discuss some important conversion reactions in these halo compounds. Ethane to bromoethane. So now they are asking us how bromoethane is prepared from ethane. What is the formula of ethane? Ethane formula is CH3. From this they are asking us bromoethane, CH3, CH2Br. Now they are asking us how this conversion will takes place. Generally alkanes, when treated with halogens, they will give respective halides. For example, if we take fluorine compounds, fluorine can react with alkanes even in dark. Even in dark and cold condition also, fluorine can react with alkanes to give alkyl fluorides. Whereas in case of chlorine, we have to proceed the reaction or carried out the reaction in presence of sunlight. So alkanes reacts with chlorine in presence of sunlight to give chlorocompounds. In case of bromine, in addition to sunlight or ultraviolet radiation, we have to heat. Heat is also necessary. Chlorine and bromine, without heating, they can react with alkanes to give fluorides and chlorides. But in the case of bromine, a little bit of heat is also essential for the reaction. So here ethane, when treated with bromine in presence of ultraviolet light and heat, it will give us bromoethane. This is called as bromoethane. This is ethane. This is one conversion. Next, another conversion reaction is how toluene is converted into benzyl alcohol. Toluene means benzene ring is there. For benzene ring, if one alkyl group is present, then it is called as toluene. Now they are asking benzyl alcohol. Benzyl alcohol means for a benzene ring C6H5, there will be CH2OH, benzyl alcohol. How this can be happened? How toluene is converted into benzyl alcohol? This is two-step reaction. In first step, this toluene should be converted into chloro compound. That means in presence of sunlight, when it reacts with chlorine, it will gives us benzyl chloride, CH2Cl, benzyl chloride is formed, and further when it treated with NaOH, then we will get benzyl alcohol. So from toluene to benzyl alcohol, it is a two-step reaction. First, the toluene is converted into benzyl chloride, then and further on treating with sodium hydroxide solution, it will gives us benzyl alcohol. Conversions. This is propene to propanol. Propene to propanol. So propene means CH3, CH double bond CH2. From this we have to prepare CH3, CH2, sorry, CHOH, CH3. So here this can be done by two steps. One is first the conversion of this into an alkyl compound, and further with alcoholic KOH we can get that one. That means if we first stage, if we treat this with HBr, bromine will be substituted at second carbon to give CH3, CH, Br, single bond CH3. Again, if we treat it with alcoholic KOH, OH will be substituted in place of bromine. Suppose if you want one propanol, here addition of HBr should be takes place in presence of peroxides, so that the Br will be substituted here. In the second reaction we will get one propanol. This is Markovnikov rule. HBr, when it is attached in presence of peroxides, Br will attach here. In the absence of peroxides, it will be in the second stage. Now, ethanol. Ethanol means CH3, CH2, OH. Ethanol. Butane. CH3, CH3, CH2, CH, triple bond, CH. This is butane. Now they are asking to convert ethyl alcohol into butane. So this can also be takes place in two steps. In first step, this ethyl alcohol can easily be converted into ethyl chloride by reaction with HCl or SOCl2 or PCl3 or PCl5. We can convert ethyl alcohol into ethyl chloride, CH3, CH2Cl. When it treated with sodium acetamide, CNA triple bond CH, sodium acetamide, this is called as sodium acetamide. This Na will be replaced and this C will bonded here to give this compound. Then 1 bromopropane to 2 bromopropane. 1 bromopropane to 2 bromopropane. Same thing, 1 bromopropane. CH2Br. Now they are asking to prepare 2-bromopropane. So first here we have to eliminate this bromine. This can be done by treating with alcoholic AOH. Then we'll get CH3, CH double bond, CH2. If you add HBr, according to Markovnikov rule, this bromine will be substituted in the second carbon, which is having less number of hydrogens. So from 1-bromopropane to 2-bromopropane can be carried out by this way. Aniline to chlorobenzene, we have already seen here in the Sandmeyer's reaction. First aniline. Is treated with NaNO2 plus HCl less than 5 degrees centigrade, we will get benzene diazonium chloride. When it was treated with Cu cuprous chloride, CuCl plus HCl, we will get chlorobenzene. So aniline was first converted into benzene diazonium chloride, and again this benzene diazonium chloride is further converted into chlorobenzene by treating with cuprous chloride and HCl. In alkyl halides, we can expect some questions on basing on the optical properties of compound. What is optical activity? We know the phenomena we have discussed earlier in our 11th class itself. If you want it, you can go through first year lessons for detailed discussion about optical activity and optical isomerism. Here one phenomena is there which can be exhibited by sp3 hybridized carbon compounds. If any carbon is an asymmetric carbon means a carbon which is attached to 4 different groups, because each carbon can form 4 bonds. If these 4 bonds are satisfied by 4 different compounds, groups C, D. This is known as asymmetric carbon. For example, if you take alkyl halide, one alkyl halide which is having one methyl group, another hydrogen, and with C2H5 and one Cl is there. This carbon is said to be asymmetric carbon because here one side methyl group is substituted, in one valence is satisfied with hydrogen, and third valence is satisfied by ethyl group, and fourth one is satisfied by chlorine. This carbon is said to be asymmetric carbon. Now it will shows this optical activity. What is meant by optical activity? Optical activity means any structure which is having that asymmetric carbon and that carbon is said to be a chiral carbon will exhibit these optical properties. What is the optical property? That means this isomer will have 2 structures. Another structure is the mirror image of this. Mirror image means if you keep one mirror here, you will get another image which we call it as mirror image. So CH3, this hydrogen, and C2H5. These two are two isomers. There is no difference. Same groups are attached here, but only difference is this figure is the mirror image of this figure. Chemically, they almost exhibit same properties, but only an optical property they differ. Optical property means if we pass a plane of polarized light, if one isomer rotate it into left side and other isomer will rotate into right side. The left side rotatory compound is said to be levorotatory. The isomer which rotate it in the right side is said to be dextrorotatory. L form and D form. We simply call it as L form and D form. Now, what is plane of polarized light? We know that when a light ray is passing, if it is the path of the light ray, normal light ray, these electromagnetic radiations will distribute in all directions like this. This light is said to be a normal light. Plane of polarized light means if this is the light path, it rotates only this direction and this direction. This is said to be a plane of polarized light. We can get it from monochromatic lamp. We get this type of light, plane of light, polarized light, but this is normal light. From any light source you will get this type of radiation, and this is a special radiation emitted by monochromatic lamps. So if we pass this plane of polarized light, if one isomer, if this is the ray which we are passing, some compound will rotate it like this, and some compounds will rotate it like this. So this rotates to the right side and this rotates to the left side. So left side is L form, this is levorotatory, and this is D form, which we call it as a dextrorotatory. So if one isomer is levorotatory, its mirror image is said to be dextrorotatory. These two are superimposable. Superimposable means, suppose for example, if you take, this is my hand, the mirror image of this hand is this. So if I keep one mirror, this image is appear like this. Now if you keep this like this, it is not coincide. All fingers are not coinciding. If they are coincide, then it is said to be superimposable. If it is not coincide, it is said to be they are not superimposable. So the two optical isomers which are mirror image to each other and non-superimposable, such isomers are said to be enantiomers. Enantiomers. So they will ask in the examination like this, what are enantiomers? This is one question that you are going to get in the examination. Enantiomers. Enantiomers means two optically active isomers which are mirror image to each other and not superimposable. Such structures or such isomers are said to be enantiomers. Enantiomers. Now, another question they may ask about racemic mixture. Racemic mixture. If any substance is containing 50% of levo form and 50% of dextro form, the optical rotation created by this 50% is neutralized by that 50%, so that the resultant ray is not rotate either in right side or left side. Such mixture is said to be racemic mixture. If LEVO form and dextro form of an isomer of a compound, if any optically active compound, both L form and D form are equally present, the 50% and 50%. So the rotation that was created by 50% of one isomer is neutralized by other 50% of other isomer. So the resultant ray will not have any rotation. That mixture is said to be racemic mixture. Racemic mixture means due to the presence of two different isomers, optically active isomers, L form and D form, in equal percentage in a mixture, though it is an optically active compound, it will not show optical activity due to the presence of two different isomers in equal proportions. That mixture is said to be racemic mixture. Then another important question we can face, the result of optical activity due to SN1 and SN2 mechanisms. So we know that this is an alkyl halide. It will undergo to nucleophilic substitution reaction. Here it is a secondary carbon, so there is possibility for SN1 mechanism and SN2 mechanism. There are chances for both the mechanisms. Now, if SN1 mechanism takes place, what is its influence on optical activity? If SN2 takes place, what is its influence? For example, if we take this compound now, if it is undergone to SN1 mechanism due to the influence of nucleophilic substitution reaction under the influence of nucleophile and proton of the solvent, this chlorine will be removed to form a carbocation with these compounds like this. This carbocation will attacked by a nucleophile. This nucleophile may attack from this side or from this side. If attack takes place in this direction, the resultant compound may appear like this. If attacking takes place like this direction, so there are two possibilities. These two are mirror images to each other. Now here, if it is L form, this is also L form, but this is D form. That means due to SN1 mechanism, same optical active compound may arise, or a different optical compounds may arise, or the mixture of the compounds. There is every possibility. If these two are formed in equal proportions, there is a probability, then a racemic mixture may form, or same stereoisomeric compound may form, that is retention of optical activity. So if SN1 mechanism takes place, the optical activity may retain That means we call it as a retention of optical activity. Or if these two are formed in equal proportions, then optical activity will be 0 and this mixture is said to be racemic mixture. Suppose if SN2 mechanism takes place, what happens? In the same case, if SN2 mechanism takes place, the nucleophile will attack from this side, back side only, because this is optically positive and this is delta minus. So automatically OH minus or nucleophile will attack from this side and it will form a transition complex which is unstable, and automatically this bond will be weakened and this bond will be strong. So resultant compound will be like this. That means exactly opposite compound is formed. This we call it as a Walden inversion. Due to SN2 mechanism, inversion of groups will take place because the nucleophile will attack the carbon in the opposite direction of the halide compound. So this was, if L form is take part into the reaction, resultant after SN2 mechanism, we will get a D form. If D form is take part into the reaction, we will get L form. That means due to SN2 mechanism, second optically active compound, if LEVO form will gives dextro form or dextro form will gives LEVO form. Whereas in SN1 mechanism, same isomerism may exhibit by the product or the product may be a racemic mixture, or it may, that means it may retain the optical activity or a racemic mixture may form. Whereas in SN2 mechanism, compulsory a new isomer will form due to SN2 mechanism. Important question is ambident nucleophile. Nucleophile means negatively charged species. That means which affect the nucleus. Nucleus is a positively charged species. So which species will attract the positively charged species? Naturally negatively charged species. So negatively charged species is said to be a nucleophile. In substitution reactions, this negatively charged species will attack the nucleophile. So here certain nucleophiles are there. They can attack from both sides of its ends. For example, if you take cyanide Cn minus, if the Cn minus will attach the nucleophile like this compound is said to be cyanide, or if it attack like this is said to be isocyanide. So this nucleophile can attack the nucleus of the attacking atom from carbon side or from nitrogen side. This type of nucleophiles are called as ambident nucleophiles. For example, if you take OH minus, OH minus always attack from oxygen side only. It cannot attack or attach to the nucleus with hydrogen side. But some nucleophiles are there, they can attach from either from this side or that side. Similarly, NO2. This is also, it can attach from like this or it can attach like this also. Thiocyanide, SCN. This is also another examples of ambident nucleophiles.